We often hear today that standing for truth will alienate people from the gospel. Today, Maundy Thursday, of all days, reminds us we need not choose between truth and love. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. Jesus would have baked the cake. Christians hate LGBTQ people. You're on the wrong side of history. Why can't you just let them be their true selves? That's just your truth, not mine. Or perhaps most painful, especially when it comes from a friend or a family member, if you love me, you'd accept me for who I really am. Look, all these slogans leave Christians silent or shamed today. But at root, they're just different ways of saying the same thing, that truth and love are incompatible. To tell the truth, especially when it comes to issues of sexuality and gender, is to be unloving and intolerant. And to love someone is to always affirm their choices. And there's a uniquely Christian version of these slogans too. Taking a moral stand, we're told, especially on questions so culturally controversial, will distract from the gospel. The church needs to be more welcoming and avoid anything that makes people feel excluded from the church. After all, we're told, isn't the gospel really about inclusivity? Well, today, of all the days of Holy Week, directly confronts this mentality. Maundy Thursday set aside on the church calendar to remember the Last Supper. The word Maundy comes from the Latin word for mandate or command. At this first celebration of communion, Jesus gave his disciples a new command, that they should love and serve each other. And to demonstrate what he meant by this, he picked up a basin of water and a towel and washed their feet. Now, to fully understand the words and actions of Jesus here, recall that at this Last Supper and First Communion, Jesus and his disciples were actually obeying an original command from God given to all Jews to always remember Passover. God's people were to never forget how they had been rescued from slavery in Egypt. For Jesus to issue a new command on this night was an audacious thing to do, especially given how heavily God's original command weighed in Israel's history and identity as a people. Jesus, however, went even further than just merely adding instructions to an old celebration. Now, rather than just remembering how the angel of death passed over those homes with lamb's blood on their doorpost, they were to remember him, his broken body, his shed blood. Ultimately, the new command was to remember a new rescue, and how through Christ's death, death is not merely avoided, but finally defeated. Though the volume has increased in recent years, the American church has been dividing over whether it should be primarily about proclaiming truth or serving others since at least the early and mid-20th century. The Lord's Supper and Jesus' new command reminds us that this is a false dichotomy. It's an unnecessary choice to make. These two things, truth and love, need never be separated and should never be separated. On the same night, Jesus commanded us to remember how his broken body and shed blood rescues us from sin. That's truth. He commanded us to demonstrate our new life by serving others. That's love. We need not choose between truth and love. In fact, we must not choose. They always go together because they are both grounded in the same source, or more specifically, the same person. Jesus embodied truth and love, not only in the event we commemorate today, but in every event we remember this Holy Week. He is truth, he is love, and he is risen indeed. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint.